The WCS Global Finals are upon us once more. The 16 best players in StarCraft 2 gather in Anaheim, California to compete for your war chest money and for the title as the best in the world. 8 players from South Korea. 8 players from everywhere else. The board has been set, the groups have been drawn, and in just a few days, the group stage will begin. I'm gonna make my predictions. You should make yours on who will be taking home the prize. We're not gonna be able to pick the playoffs yet, because the playoffs are randomly drawn from the 8 qualifying players out of the group stages, 2 from each group. The first place in each group will face a second place member of another group. For example, if Dark wins Group A and Maru takes second place in Group B, then they could play each other, but if Maru takes first, he couldn't play Dark. But we can only do the group stages for now, but so important, and will be played a week before the final Blizzcon matches. What are my predictions and why? I've been watching all year. I've been highlighting and casting some of the best games, whether live on Twitch with you guys watching GSL, or of course from replay, or from the WCS circuit. So, Group A. Who's playing who? Dark versus Showtime and Sue versus Special. Let's get it out of the way. Every one of these matches are amazing. Okay? By like, just incredible. With that said, so the way the groups work, let me break it down real quick. You win 2, you win. You're out. Either you win 2 or lose 2 first. So if you get 2 wins before you get 2 losses, you made it through. If you get 2 losses, you're out. So Dark wins against Showtime, for example, and then he wins the winner's match. He moves on. He's in first place. So what's my prediction? Dark's gonna beat Showtime. That wasn't hypothetical. I think Dark's gonna beat Showtime. But Juanito, the best Terran player in the WCS circuit. I need to be able to mark this down. Just to keep track here. All right. So Dark. And then I'm taking Special. Do I put the scores? These are best of 5s. All right, we'll do scores too. Like, well, if I nail it, I'm just the authority on StarCraft for the rest of time, or the best player at telling these players when to win. But first off, we have over there. I'm taking Dark. All right, I'm taking 3-1. 3-1 Dark. And I'll be doing this for each group. And then we'll just post the end result so we have all that. And then, of course, Juanito. You know what? He's had time to prepare. Now, this is another dynamic to talk about is that these groups, it depends on how many races you got in the group, too. Like, if your group only has 2 races in it, which I don't know if any of the groups do. Yeah, like, for example, Group D only has Protoss and Zerg. You can just practice for 2 matchups, whereas for a group like here, Special is the only Terran, so only has to practice for Zerg and Protoss. And honestly, I'm going to be, I think he's going to be pretty confident up against Showtime. I think he'll be practicing for Zerg, I think he'll be ready, and I think that's going to give him a 3-1 over Sue. And then comes Dark versus Special. It's going to be Dark versus Special. I'm just going to put a D to highlight. Dark 3-2. Dark comes out first. Let's give him Dark, the #1 GSL player. I mean, Dark coming out in first. And then we have Showtime up against Sue. Showtime, the Cinderella story. I almost want to say 3-0. 3-1 feels almost like a cop-out, but... Sue 3-1. Down goes Showtime. I'm sorry. Germany. Entschuldigung an Deutschland. But you have more representatives. Showtime first out of BlizzCon. And then the final match. Special versus Sue. I think Special takes it. 3-2 though this time. This is a really hard call. This is like with my heart. It's hard to say. It's very hard to tell if it's coming from my brain or from my heart. But I gotta give Juanito credit. He's the only Terran in the group. He's got 2 top Zergs. I think he has what it takes to beat, and he has TY to bounce ideas off of. TY, they're pretty much best friends. Out of Group A comes Special in second place and Dark in first. So no major upsets there, I think. Let's just take it off the board real quick. With Dark being first in GSL and Special being the top Terran in the WCS circuit. I don't think too many people would be surprised at that result, but excited, definitely. That is my prediction for Group A. What is yours? Remember, post your comments, say why I'm wrong. If this ends up being a video on YouTube, say, Winter, you were completely wrong on everything, or at least some of the things, which I probably will be. But let's move over to the group that on its own could be the round of 4. This group. Group B. Finally. Okay, it might not happen. It might not. The match we have been waiting for over 2 years. Over 2 years. It still might not happen. It's possible. But let's talk about it first. Maru versus Time. Recently watched a breakdown match of Innovation versus Time that got a pretty good, like just a few weeks ago. That gave a pretty good idea of where Time's at in TVT. And the summary is Time is, well, he needs to go back to the future and figure something new out. I'm 3-0. Maru, his TVT, top notch. 3-0 Maru. Taking him to the winner's match. In Stats versus Serral, how many times is this going to happen? They've gone back and forth. Stats actually beat Serral in, I believe it was Assembly, but in GSL versus the World, and of course in the Blizzcon finals of last year. Serral beat Stats. This is a rematch of the BlizzCon finals again. This is ridiculous, this group. Are we doubting Serral now on this type of stage? 3-1 Serral. Bringing us to Maru versus Serral. Now, there's a lot to be said here because of usually there's been a few times they've faced off, but never on this scale, like never for WCS. Never in a best of 5 or best of 7 setting, especially with this much on the line. And in my opinion, Maru is better in a best of 5 or best of 7. Maru's TVP is near, like, it's downright atrocious in comparison to his TVT and especially his TVZ. I'm saying Maru 3-2. Serral does not come out first of his group. Maru does. The torch is rekindled. And now the question is, where do the proxy rags go? That leaves us with the losers match of stats versus time, which this is, honestly, I need to flip a coin on this. I have no idea how that plays out. I haven't watched time versus Proton. Actually, I have a little. Like, stats also has been a little underwhelming when it comes to Protoss versus Terran, though, lately. I think I gotta go with stats knows how to play on the big stage, or for the big money, for the biggest prize pool in StarCraft. I'm gonna give him a 3-1. Because I think it's gonna, like, nerves are gonna factor in a bit. And that brings up a Serral versus Stats rematch. If we scroll a little further and ruin everything. Well, you can figure it out from there. But Serral versus Stats. If he doesn't beat him the first time, I don't see him beating him the second time. Like, Time showed some incredible. Like, he took Serral to the limit in, I believe it was Montreal. He took him to the limit. But Serral still won. And I don't know if Time has the other matchups to back him up on that. So, I think Time is out. His time is up. Stats going out in the round of 16 seems like blasphemy. I'm pausing until I say Serral wins, spoilers. To give dramatic effect and say, like, it's very hard to process that part. But I think that's another 1-3, maybe 3-0 for Serral at this stage. I don't think. And that brings Maru out in first. And in second place is Serral. But there's a few matches, like maybe Stats brings the best CVP. Because they all know who they're playing. They knew weeks beforehand. Stats and Serral have played on the biggest stage multiple times. And Stats hasn't rolled over. Maybe Stats figures out something about Protoss versus Zerg no one else has figured out. And he brings it to the table, and Serral gets knocked out. If Serral gets knocked out in the round of 16, then whoever bets against him is going to be looking very good. I'd say if you picked odds on Serral or not Serral, just not anyone in particular, just anyone else who's not Serral to win Blizzcon, you'd still have better odds for Serral. Like, that's where we're at right now, going into this. The only man who's made Serral bleed is in this next group. And also, fun trivia fact, of the images used to promote these groups, Hero, the only player who refused to cross his arms, or at least refused to provide a photo where he crossed his arms, at the very least. So, there you go, fun trivia fact. Raynor, taking down Serral twice in ZVZ finals. He doesn't look as strong. He doesn't have another Zerg in his group. And he's not playing Hero Marine first. This is a tough call. Classic, who literally had to avoid becoming a Hero Marine in order to get to BlizzCon. He is so close to the age cutoff for mandatory Korean military service that he almost wasn't able to go. He had to get a special exception from the South Korean government. He had to avoid becoming a Hero Marine in order to come to BlizzCon. So, He's got a lot on the line. That's really hard. I think Hero Marine, despite what he might say about Protoss, is one of the best. Especially, like, I'd take him in TVZ more, but I think Classic is... The thing is, Hero Marine is as much as big as Big Gabe is, and that photo does not do him justice. I think Classic is gonna... Like, Hero Marine is happy to be there. Every time Hero Marine gets to the round of 8, he's like, wow, I did really good. But Classic is like, this is my last chance to do anything. So, yeah, fun fact, that's actually Hero Marine at 0.1 size. You'd have to increase the size by 10 times, and it wouldn't fit on the photo. So that's unfortunate. I'm gonna say another 3-1. Classic takes it. Now this isn't Hero versus Rainer. Hero, the one even the people who crossed their arms in the photo forgot about. Rainer never striking me as like a mind-blowing Zerg versus Protoss player. But the gap has closed. The world versus Korea. I think Rainer takes it. I think if he has time to prepare and explicitly practice for a group with 2 Protoss. 3-2 for Rainer. I think it's still going to be... I think there's going to be 1 or 2 times. Like, the big weakness of Rainer, the young Zerg player, is like many very young players, a little headstrong in that, no, this is the unit composition that's going to work for me, and I have 544 goddamn APM, and I'm going to use it. And most of the time it works. But having 300 more actions per minute than anyone else isn't going to solve some problems when it comes to having a better unit composition. So hopefully you can get over that, which is sometimes an issue in the other matchups. And literally over 500 APM. I don't... Old Man Winter. Shouldn't the numbers be... Okay, whatever. That leaves us with Rainer and Classic. I don't think Lightning's going to strike twice. Especially considering he plays Hero right before, and Classic will be able to watch before that match. Classic's out in first. If he wins the first match, I think Classic gets out in first no matter who he's facing. Classic is your first place finisher, Group C. And then our losers match is Hero Marine versus Hero. What a match, by the way. Did I intentionally... Did I just want to talk about Hero versus Hero Marine? Okay, this... You know what? I think Hero Marine's got that. I think if he gets... Classic and Hero are on different levels. Classic on a higher one is the implication. Hero got, I think, it is my impression, I might be wrong, but it is my impression that Hero got here. He's pretty close to the bottom of WCS, of GSL. Yeah. And most of the big matches he won were PvP. I remember some very epic PvPs with him. But, I skipped. No, go. Up, back. Where were we? There. But I don't remember any sort of upsets or mind-blowing play against the other races. Like, there was a lot of dramatic, is one way to put it, PvP. So that means Hero's going out first. That's the implication there. And that leaves the Italian versus the German. And, another 3-1. I almost want to say 3-0, but Rainer 3, like... Once again, I'm working off of what I remember. I have no stats to back it up. I'm doing it live like I do. Oh my god, Jimmy. But Classic in first, Rainer in second. That's my call. Even though Rainer a little weaker in non-Zerg versus Zerg, I think he's just too strong overall. I don't think he can be stopped by that group. And then our final group of Blizzcon. Now, once again, I'm not looking up any stats besides like WCS points. I'm going off of my spectating throughout the year. Fill me in on that information, or all the stats, or who beat who, or literally stats. Who knows? But in this group, which has a dramatically different color, we have Trap, a Laser, Rogue, and the best Protoss outside of Korea. And this is a pretty tough one. Like, Trap versus a Laser. Trap should win on paper. This is a relatively easy call compared to Rogue versus Neeb. Yeah. Because, like, I think there's going to be a game where a Laser comes up with the drone, like, this is how you drone rush correctly or something like that. Like he does. He's very good at that. But, yeah, a Laser is a wild card for sure. But I don't think he's wild enough. And Rogue versus Neeb. Once, like, the Cinderella story of Korea versus the American juggernaut. When you think of Neeb, you think of power. You think of strength. You think of devastation. That's what you think of when you think of Neeb. Just look at him. In a t-shirt. Because that's his uniform. I'm gonna let my American spirit win out over my brain. 2-3 for Neeb. And that brings Neeb to the winner's match. Like, I think it'll be close. Either it will be very close, and Neeb might win. Like, if it's close, Neeb has like a 40 to 50% chance, like 50-50 maybe, chance of winning. But if it's not close, it's not going to be a stomp for Neeb. It's going to be a stomp for Rogue. Neeb's just going to not have an idea of how to take it. Like, we've seen that before. It's either going to be close, or Rogue's going to wipe the floor. That's what I think we're going to see. But I can't, like, Neeb. And that lines up a situation where it's Trap versus Neeb, which is PvP. Now, here's the thing. I am of the opinion that most Koreans don't actually know how to play PvP. Alright? Because the Koreans, with their PvP style of drinking 4 bottles of soju and then deciding to play whatever it is where you stab the knife like in between your fingers a bunch, while with your feet you're playing StarCraft, which is what GSL PvP seems to be. Neeb is whatever the opposite of that is. Okay? The thing is, sometimes he tries to macro a little too hard, and that's what gets him. It's really... The thing is, this is... I feel like this is a better chance for Neeb than versus Rogue. If I'm gonna say he beats Rogue, then he beats Trout too. (3-1) Neeb. Like, that's an easier call than Neeb versus Rogue for me. Neeb comes out in first. Yeah, it really comes down to Rogue versus Neeb here. This group falls apart if that goes the other way. You can see my blind spot here if it ends up. We'll see. I'm locking it in. It's locked in. Jimmy, lock it in. Okay, there, it's locked in. Okay, we got it all stowed away. So that leaves us with a laser versus Rogue in a ZVZ. No, that's another foreign dream. Oh my, like, a laser has a non-zero. He beat Dark. A laser has a non-zero chance of beating Rogue in ZVZ. And the thing is, I don't think either of these players are really going to be working on ZVZ much. The Europeans know Zerg versus Zerg. They really do, because there are so many European Zergs. I mean, let's just look. Serral, Raynor, a laser. Oh, okay, well, they're all European. That doesn't really say much. Let's go a little down the list. This is not reinforcing my point that much. There was a time, okay. There was a time, like, you got Nurchio, Lambo. I'm forgetting a couple up there as well. Snoot. There was a time when pretty much every top European player was Zerg. It's no longer that, like, cut and dry, but no. Sorry, a laser. 1-3. No. 0-3. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, a laser. And that brings up Rogue versus Trout, which... I think Rogue's got that. I think that'll be close. I'm actually going to play a 3-2. 3-2. Really what matters is who wins. The map score doesn't matter. It's just who wins. But... because Trap is going to be preparing... like, both sides are going to be preparing for PvZ. So, who will be our final? Nope, wrong. That leaves us with our final 8. And then the promotional thing that they've done for a little while. And they called it Establishing the 8, which I think sounds pretty dumb. But, who are your final 8? Let me bring up all of them real quick. Jimmy. I need all the groups. We should have planned for this. We do it live. If you never believed it, it's like, no, we couldn't possibly do it live. The production quality is far too high for one man and not 3 men in a branded gaming chair. Well. Let's get all these heroes on the screen. And remember, we cannot actually do the playoff bracket because it will be randomly drawn after the group stage. So, let's get them all these handsome gentlemen up there. Go down here. Go in a reasonable order. Okay. Beautiful. This is professional. All right. Close enough. So, to summarize, after we establish the 8, out goes Sue. Out goes Showtime. Number 1, Dark. Number 2, Special. For Group A. Group B, the group of Mega Death. Out goes Stats and Time. Number 1, Maru. In a close victory over number 2, Serral. Group C, Hero Marine and his son Hero don't quite make it up against Classic with blood to spill and the young prodigy Rainer in second place. And then Eliezer and just barely Trap with my total bias showing through. Neeb in first. And Rogue following him. Your top 8 Blizzcon contenders. Dark, Special, Maru, Serral, Rainer, Classic, Neeb, and Rogue. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Is it all wrong? Is it biased? What's going to happen? We'll find out this next coming weekend, the first one before November. This video, if we have it, will only be relevant for a few days, so get your comments in. Tell me I'm wrong. Hopefully I upload it in a timely manner. If you're watching live, I'm sure I'll get that direct feedback like we're warping in Templar. We will see. And then, of course, the random draws. So many good players. But only one can win. The World Championship Series of StarCraft 2 2019. Good luck, have fun.